Live, live. Okay, it's 9:15. So many people waiting for you. I'm going to tell you to remind me on like Wednesday nights or Thursday mornings. I be forgetting. But have some work for you, brother. But yeah, we'll start about 5 minutes, and just want to have a really good sound discussion on depression and unemployment because that's some real. That's about real for real for real. No doubt, man. No doubt, brother. Um, let me turn my hold on a second. Let me turn my heat on. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. What's going on, Miss Martinez? I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your name. Hey, Shola. See you, young lady, young Nubian. Is it Arlie Martinez? Pleasure to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. So for those of you who are joining, Naeem the Dream, I always see you posting. What's up? What's up? Um, about 3 more minutes. I started at like 9:15, but I want to give it like a few more minutes. And like I said, just want to really dive into depression and unemployment because this is definitely unprecedented in modern times. So I think it's just really key that as a collective we have a discussion about this and just all about solutions. There's enough fear mongering going around. Peace, Levette 108. Peace, peace. Um, yeah, enough fear mongering going around. I don't want to get into all that. Um, I just want to get into resolution and solutions and just kind of see where can we go. But the focus is, I will tell you this uh, as I move forward. I'll say it again too in a couple minutes. But Aaliyah, Nubian, Nakua, what's up, Aaliyah? Um, I guess the three things, most important things I want to focus on is meditation, community, and spirituality. Not that there's not other variables that will be, should be included. Ashe, Mani Mouthman. Um, not that there's other variables that should be included in what's going on, but I just really want to focus on that. Again, I want to focus on meditation, spirituality, and community. Uh, Let me turn that off. So yeah, it's 9:20. So let's go ahead and get started. Just so you know, if it cuts out or just moving forward, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel because there's no interruptions, obviously. Higher Dimension 44 Peace fam. How you doing? Um, yeah, go to the YouTube channel. Again, YouTube channel is El Rico Ramon. Just go into the playlist that says African Mental Health and you'll see where it's live basically. And also if you want to just check out the re-recording of it, it'll be on YouTube also. So let's go ahead and get started. Ashe, Unc Uja Seneb, so good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. I know there's a lot going on, so let's just cut through it all. Um, so I guess I would like to start off by just giving like a short experience that I've had with unemployment. I've been unemployed like three times in my life, two times in my career. The one time in 2012 was um, actually 2012 when it happened. I was fine, but coming around the curve to 2013, whew, got me good, and that was actually the beginning phases of me dealing with mental challenges as it pertains to mental challenges as it pertains to altered states, and that would be along the lines of depression, anxiety. There's other terms out there that a lot of people don't know about. It's called depersonalization, derealization. Under Western psychiatric terms in the lexicon, that is considered mental illness. I look at it differently, but to each his own. I don't go around telling people how they need to perceive what it is that they go through in their reality. But I'll just fast forward to the second time. The second time I got let go, which was 2016, 2016 of February, and that time, because of all the stuff I had gone through, I was better equipped to deal with what was going on. So I just remember, basically, hey, Prime Rose, good to see you. Welcome. I just remember basically um, knowing that I needed to use all the techniques that was given to me through the ancestors, through nature, through the inner me, the intuition, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the most important aspects of that was just really being mindful, as they call it in the Western Hemisphere, but being in the moment is extremely important. I cannot get through to you enough how important that was for me, because you can easily let your mind just it'll go, because you start messing around in the future, and that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's not your business. Future, it is what it is. What it's going to be is what it's going to be. Everything is everything. What you need to try your best to do. Don't say what you need to do. I feel the best thing to do is just really try to focus on the moment. And there is no one form of meditation that you should do. Everybody has different types of meditations. Nevertheless, the more you can focus on whatever is the moment, whether it's breath, whether it's your body, whether it's audio, whether it's nature, whether it's exercise. There's so many various forms of meditation. But one of the reasons why I say that is because that kept me balanced. That kept me from relapsing. I kid you not. It kept me from relapsing. And that mindset, strengthening the mind, continuing to strengthen my spirit, is really what kept me balanced and kept me from going back under. And don't get me wrong, there were times when the mind wanted to just kind of like start throwing things at you, or at me rather, trying to figure out what was next. But it was like, you just learn to walk this tightrope. Basically, you learn to not just really get caught up again in the future, not get caught up in the past, which is what had happened to me in 2012, 2013. I got really caught out there slipping. I was just ruminating too much, trying to work things out, trying to figure things out. Every individual too also is uniquely different as it pertains to how they go about digesting these things. For me, and what has really worked with me throughout mainly my entire life up until this moment, it's just not good for me to plan a lot. And that's not me saying don't, save your money, or don't, do some things, like, again, balance. Balance is everything. But for me, I've learned even up to this point that things happen for me when I least expect it. Things happen for me when I'm not trying so hard. Things happen for me when I'm just really being natural and organic about the situation. And if it's something that I can't control, like, I need not control it. I need to step back and let it flow. Just let it flow. No matter what it looks like, no matter how it feels, let it flow, because pushing up against the grain, up against the barrier, or the waves that are crashing at the moment for some of you, or maybe not, it's just gonna make things worse. You're gonna find yourself in a really bad situation regarding your mental health, regarding your spiritual health, regarding your physical health. So I would strongly encourage you not to do that. But yeah, I would basically end up traveling like to different places. I was living in Jersey. My lease was up, I think, in like June of that. No, May. It was like May of that same year, 2016. And I had saved up a lot of money. I got whatever money they gave to me once I got let go. And I would say for me, I was kind of being a little more on the edge, meaning that um I would do things a little differently. Hey, what's going on? She's died. Good to see you, Nubian. Um, I would say I would do things differently today, but I was staying, in hotels, because I didn't want to go back home. In 2012, 2013, when I got let go, after a year and a half had passed, and I just couldn't deal with the mental challenges anymore. I had to move from Maryland to Atlanta. I had to stay with my mother. That's a whole nother story. This time around, I was like, I feel like I can kind of do more on my own by myself. Not kind of by myself, but you know what I mean. And yeah, I was basically hotel hopping for a while. The reason I say I would do things differently is because if you have money saved up right now, and this will kind of, walk a little bit into community. If you have money saved up, try your best not to like go through all of it if you don't have to. Because if you've never been unemployed before, let me tell you, that's just the way this capitalistic colonial society works. So you want to really be careful about that. That's cool if it can get you through for 2 months, 6 months, even a year. That's great. But if you don't have to use uh those funds, try not to use it. Try to go stay with family. And again, we'll get into that in just a second. What's going on, Abel and Barry? Pleasure to cross paths with you. So um so yeah, that was basically me being in the moment that second time I got let go. And just using my ancestors, the meditation, the libations, and just really relying on my words and my thoughts and my meditative prayers on a daily basis was extremely significant for me because again, I had already been through something extremely traumatic regarding the mind and the spirit. So I'm not gonna say I didn't have a choice because oftentimes people will go through these things and you'll forget to lean on those techniques, those remedies, those therapies. So you want to be careful about, losing your connection, because you can lose your connection if you're not consistent with them. And they'll always be there, but it gets weaker and weaker if you're not basically strengthening those spiritual muscles, whether it be the spirit, whether it be the relationship with the ancestors, whether it be the relationship with the mind, because that's a relationship in itself. But yeah, I was able to maintain, and within being meditative, within being spiritual, within being in the moment consistently and just having faith. And next thing you know, out of nowhere, I get this job offer to come to Philly, which is where I'm at now. And I'll be honest with you, I almost didn't want it. Now, keep in mind, I don't have no funds really at this point. I mean, I'm still kind of making it. I got freelance money coming in. Welcome to the Universal Unansi, ComC, and just Pringle. Peace, peace, and divine presence. Um, but I really didn't want to come, not because I hated Philly. I didn't see it. I didn't envision that, which should tell you something too about your journey. Oftentimes, it ain't what you envision. When you're trying to manifest things, that's really good and all, and you should do that. But at the same time, like, be careful, because you could be decreasing and shortening your blessings if you're not open to just what the universe, what the ancestors are trying to show you. And at this point, I'm glad that I made the decision to come here. I was gonna go like to New Mexico or something, because I needed to be somewhere where the cost of living was a lot cheaper, and that's important too. And I do want to point that out in this session as it pertains to depression and unemployment. Understand that you do not have to stay where you are all the time. And of course, this is post the apocalypse. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying this is post all this stuff. But cost of living is a very important thing that you should, digest and understand. For example, that $1 that you have to yourself, to your name in Manhattan, will get you something different than it will get you in New Mexico or Arizona or places in the Midwest, et cetera, et cetera. Exactly right. Facts, right? The reason why I was going to go to New Mexico or Arizona is because I knew that my money would stretch longer in areas where the cost of living is low. So keep that, in your mind. And I'm going to pour all these things at you, onto you, because this is not a moment for second guessing. I was going back and forth with a few divine people that have a presence in my life the other day, and I'm like, this is not the time for second guessing. Like, a lot of people are, yes, like, it's just being honest, just being real, a lot of people are going to suffer and struggle due to what's going on, and a lot of people are going to come out on top. This is where creators, singers, artists, musicians, millionaires, entrepreneurs, like, a lot of people are going to shine in this moment because they're utilizing their words and their thoughts appropriately. And a lot of people are not, because they're not. for a lot of various reasons, a lot of legit various reasons. And I don't want to be frivolous either, just say like this is easy. What's going on, and this is still the beginning phases. So as we continue to go on this roller coaster ride, it's going to continue to look different as every day, every week goes by. And again, I'm not into to the fear mongering. I'm just looking at the moment, looking at the facts to the present moment, and it is what it is. So yeah, resolution. I'm just about throwing about resolutions and solutions, and of course, feel free if you want to make comments. So this is a safe space. So if you don't want to, that's cool also. So yeah, think about that. Put that in the back of your mind or at the front of your mind. Like really think hard about what does reality look like for you at the moment, and what do you want reality to look like, and what are your options? Maybe you're in a lease right now, so you can't go anywhere at the moment. That's cool. We got to come up with some other options for that. Maybe your lease is about to end, or maybe you don't have a mortgage. No, maybe you don't have any of that. That's cool. Well, you need to, consider some other various options in particular. And living in a place like New Mexico or Arizona and buying land, for example, wink, wink, that's another perspective also, especially if you're along the lines of thinking about community and tribe and ways to make life better, not only for you, but for your family, for people that you really love, your friends. And if you, maybe you want to bring other people into the community, because that's definitely where we come from, whether you believe it or not. But yeah, so I did not go to New Mexico. Obviously, I came to Philly, and here I am. So that's what I wanted to start off with. I wanted to start off with my experience, and I wanted to really start off by saying that try your best to meditate on your words, meditate on your thoughts, your orishas, your loas, your necharu, your ancestors. Every all the people that whose shoulders that you stand on, like they with us, they're here. If you don't believe it, then you in the wrong group. You might not want to be listening to anything I gotta say. In addition to that, they are the feet that we bow down to, that we look to regarding scholarship, regarding wisdom, regarding spirituality, right? Yeah, that's right. Philly in the house. So I want to transition to Ashe, Ashe. I want to transition to community for an example also. Now, has anybody heard of Malidoma Somé? If you haven't, Malidoma Somé is a renowned author and speaker. He does a lot of lectures. He's of the Dagara tribe in Burkina Faso. He's an awesome elder. If you haven't heard of him, he has some really good books. I have actually. Oh, this is one of the books right here. This is of water and spirit. That's one of the books right here. I'm gonna show it to you also. Higher dimension. Again, that's Malidoma Somé. He has other books of water and the spirit. And if you pull up him up on YouTube, he's done some really good lectures. Another good way to fortify your spirit, your soul, your mind, et cetera, et cetera. But he was somebody when I was going through the mental and spiritual challenges, when I was really opening up and starting to like really on reality as it pertains to medicine, as it pertains to these challenges. I'm like, well, what else did we do? There's this narrative that medicine and medical practices starts in the United States and Europe, and that's yeah. So so one of the people that I came across was Malidoma Somé, and he talks about West African shamanism. So if you bear with me, I want to read some of the things that he has written, and then we'll dive a little bit into that community presence. And I think I copied it right, so hopefully everything I copied is accurate for this moment. Ashe. Malidoma Some, a West African shaman whom this individual had the privilege of meeting, and basically in the shamanic view, mental illness signals the birth of a healer, explains Malidoma Patrice Sommet. Thus, mental disorders are spiritual emergencies, spiritual crises, and need to be regarded as such to aid the healer in being born. What those in the West view as mental illness, the Dagara people regard as good news from the other world. The person going through the crisis has been chosen as a medium for a message to the community, and that needs to be communicated from the spirit realm. The Dagara tradition, the community, helps the person reconcile the energies of both worlds, the world of the spirit that he or she is merged with, and the village and community. The person is able then to serve as a bridge between the worlds and help the living with the information and healing that they need. Thus, the spiritual crisis ends with the birth of another healer. The other world's relationship with our world is one of sponsorship. I thought this was interesting too, if you bear with me. The spirits are drawn to people whose senses have not been anesthetized. And that's anesthetized. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hope you know what that means. I didn't look that up. The sensitivity, I think we kind of know what it means though. The sensitivity is pretty much read as an invitation to come in. Those who develop so called mental disorders are those who are sensitive, which is viewed in Western culture as oversensitivity. Indigenous cultures don't see it that way. And as a result, sensitive people don't experience themselves as overly sensitive. In the West, it is the overload of the culture they're in that is just wrecking them, observes Dr. Somé. The frantic pace, the bombardment of the senses, and the violent energy that characterize the Western culture can overwhelm sensitive people, and that is very um, renowned or known regarding our culture. Also, decent. Thank you, Just Spring. I appreciate that. Desensitized. Thank you with all humbleness. I want to read that part one more time. This other part. The dagger tradition, the community helps the person reconcile the energies of both worlds, the world of the spirit that he or she is merged with, and the village and community. That person is able then to serve as a bridge between the worlds and help the living with the information and healing they need. Thus, the spiritual crisis ends with the birth of another healer. The other world's relationship with our world is one of sponsorship. Um, so I wanted to bring that up. Uh, this is okay, cool. Thank you. This is my story in regard to living in NYC. Okay, okay. I definitely want to hear more about that. Definitely. Um, so going back to community and going back to resolution, once upon a time there was this thing called the American dream. And within the American dream, there's a lot of isolation, there's a lot of independence, there's a lot of not depending on, culture and roots. And a lot of that was manipulation. A lot of that, maybe arguably all of that is intentional because here we sit today with a lot of division still, actually. So um, I think community is extremely important right now. The question is how does that look when you've been, and I'm a loner myself, for the most part. I enjoy my solitude. To some degree, I gravitate to isolation. But what I learned when I was dealing with those mental challenges, um, and its intensity, was that I need socialization. That's really really important. It doesn't mean I gotta like just go buy and pick up a whole bunch of friends. It just means that there's this thing called stimulus in life, or stimuli rather. And when it comes to stimulus and stimuli, that's all about this interaction of vibration and energy. I often say, oftentimes, if you have to go to the hospital and you laying up in your bed on bed rest for about a month. As soon as you get off that bed, the first thing you're gonna have to do is get physical therapy because your legs aren't, you know, basically engaging with the rest of the vessel and the mind the way that they used to, the way that they're supposed to. It's the same thing with the spirit and the mind. If you stop using the mind, you stop using the vessel, you stop interacting with uh, okay, sorry. Phone call was coming in. You stop interacting with people, well, then you start losing these different abilities that you were created to do. The vessel, all parts of the manifestation of your existence. You wanna be on top of that. So yeah, but going back to community, um, I really do believe that we have to network that in a very special way. Um, if you are an individual that may possibly be out of a job now or soon, uh, who can you contact? What can you create? If you go back and look at a posting that I did earlier about an hour and a half ago, I posted something on the Green Book and the Underground Railroad. I don't want to elaborate on that too much because the reason why I posted it is because it's a conversation that we need to have, preferably off of European platforms. I don't know how that looks like, but I'm open to suggestions. And that's another reason why we're having this conversation here, too, is because how can we go about initiating community outside of European reality. That's extremely important. Again, check out the Green Book. Just Google it. You don't have to comment on it because that's something that needs to be discussed in private. We have to move differently, I believe. Telling all your my mentor, Baba Kwame Sunhorse. I was talking to him over the weekend, and he was like, "What is Facebook?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he always has the way of just kind of like charging me up and, uh, digesting things or basically feeding me things to digest. And he was like, "Facebook. Facebook is your face being a book that they're reading." And I was like, and he's right. Your face is a book. Everything that you do is something that we're reading. And I don't want to get too much off the topic, but community. It some people just don't have great relationships with their family. Some people don't have a lot of friends. So you might have to create community. And it can be done. It can be done. Whether it's through word of mouth, it can be done. That's something very important. Also, as it pertains to community, finances might not look the same. So if you do find yourself in a situation where you can be with family and the environment's conducive to your reality and how you go about living, then don't have pride. You know what I mean? Again, I had to go stay with my mom's. If I had to, I would do it all over again, especially when it comes to saving finances. And again, going back to, if you have money saved up, don't having I'm just going to use that as an example. Having $10,000 and living with family is a lot different than having $10,000 and being out of a job and trying to hold on to it by yourself. It ain't the same. Like I said, it goes very, very quickly. So you don't want to do that. And feel free also, if you have any experiences of being unemployed and having success, being outside of an unemployment. If you want to share that experience, also, you also hired Dimension 44. Please feel free to share that experience. My experience living with family wasn't actually it wasn't bad. But you definitely find out, especially because at that time I was like 33, and I had, developed quite a bit of my own identity at that point. Definitely less than what I've developed at this point. And it was actually a little challenging. I think that what I would prefer to do is create a village, create communities that basically center around um, people that not necessarily think like me, but are malleable enough to basically be able to exist in the same type of reality that I exist in. Because especially if you have such a dominant African presence, spiritual presence, those who are super religious, those who are indoctrinated, eh, you probably got family members and friends that are just like that, and it can be very challenging. But people do it all the time. And if you're able to go to be with family and you have that you can just understanding who you are and where you are in these moments and under these circumstances, I think is very critical. And I think that's also very critical to building your foundation and building community too. This is from Dr. Wade Nobles, who is a high psychological scholar. And he says something really important. He says, it is also important to note that given the Western legacy of anti Africanness, there's a need for a particular, authentic Black psychology, which requires one to think deeply and profoundly about African meanings and understandings about human, wherein one engages in deep, profound, and penetrating search, study, and mastery of the process of illuminating the human spirit or essence, as well as all human experience and phenomena. It must be noted that the unaddressed trauma of enslavement and colonization have left a legacy of psychic damage to both continental and diasporan Africans that necessitates the need for a global healing of the African mind. Black people are a world people. Again, see, one of the reasons why I want to bring that up too is to continue in these discussions, to pour in to you and including myself, how necessary it is to make decisions based upon your roots, based upon how you think, based upon your culture. When it comes to mental health practices, when it comes to depression, you don't want to just find yourself in a situation and in an environment that's not conducive to how you think and how you feel. Again, that's what we're talking about, resolutions. If you don't have people, a lot of people in your life, in your world that speak like you, not necessarily exactly like you, but I'm saying like that speak your language. Basically, you want to take time out to brainstorm now, not yesterday. I mean, not today, but yesterday about again, where are you at right now? What do you want your world, your reality to look like moving forward? Uh, Something you could do is get out a piece of paper when this is over with and just start writing stuff down. Write down people, that make you feel some type of way inside regarding um, how you want to move forward as it pertains to community. And, can you put money together with somebody? Again, I'm just throwing stuff out there because I know that this is something that hasn't been done widely across the board. From what I've gathered, there are people doing this in this nation at this moment, but it's kind of under the radar, and I understand why it's under the radar because we have things like Black Wall Street and Rosewood and stuff like that. I'm sure you know what that's all about. So again, you want to be careful how you move because they be watching. So yeah, I just believe community is something that we need to really harness and we need to really um, um, define again what that looks like because like I said, I don't want to do the fear mongering thing, but none of us really knows what this looks like. And we've looked at tons and tons of postings at this point on different social media platforms. And maybe you've been watching the news, which I definitely suggest, especially as it pertains to depression. Understand that frequency and vibration is everything. I've talked extensively in podcast episodes and video blogs on the IG about the virus of the media. That is a frequency within itself. I can kid you not. If you are consuming the wrong thing too much, you will feel hopeless, and that's just going to add to your situation and your circumstances. So do not digest what is going on in the news and social media too often. Just partition it, and divide frequencies and vibrations, whether it pertains to the media, whether it pertains to your friends and your family members. You will get caught off guard because don't forget life and the way the mind will feel it, and that's it's not pretty. And I will digest some social media stuff regarding awareness of what's going on. Not really the news because if you don't know, I've been in the radio industry for about 20, almost 21 years now, and it's predicated off of ratings. And a lot of companies have stopped, but I bet if you look up Arbitron and Nielsen, they ain't out of business. And when it comes to ratings, it's all about sensationalizing. And that's part of the toxicity of what's going on regarding panic and this environment. Don't get caught up in that, okay? Um, Going back to again to depression and unemployment, again, oftentimes it's because the depression and the anxiety comes from hopelessness or from just not controlling, not being able to control the circumstances and the situation. And at the moment, I'm employed, so far so good. But it could happen to me too. But what I can tell you is that I stay far away from that narrative because again, I've been there before. I know what it's like to be unemployed, and I know what it's like to go through. Just again, it's a wave. It's like a wave, and either you got a board or you don't. Either you know how to surf or you don't. Using the metaphor, using preparedness is like having a hey, what's going on, love scar? Pleasure to have you. Pleasure to have you. What would be a metaphor for a surfboard as a big wave is coming? A metaphor is again preparedness via uh, thinking and about community, meditating, also being mindful of the moment. That would be considered a surfboard. uh, Nature, getting in touch with your ancestors, that would be a part of the surfboard. The big wave, the wave is here, is coming. You have to, grab the appropriate surfboard for this wave, and just understand too, and just believe. You just got to believe that the wave is going to mellow out. It's a tide. The tides go in, the tides go out. It's a crash and burn type of situation. You want to just be as prepared as possible. And even if you're not that prepared right now at the moment, it's never too late. Trust me, it's never too late to start working on consistency regarding your words and your thoughts right now. Um, so yeah, utilizing your words and your thoughts, and like I said, writing things down on a piece of paper is very important. Diet. I cannot express to you enough how important diet is in situations like this. It's easy to grab the wrong things. Um, am I familiar with Schumann resonance? I am. Yes, I am. Yes, very, very familiar with Schumann resonance. Um, yeah, I'm gonna look that up too again. I haven't revisit. I need to revisit that actually. Thank you for posting that. Diet will can be part of the deal breaker too regarding that preparedness for this way, for this situation. Going and even the first time I got laid off, which was, again, going back to 2012, I still had a pretty decent diet. Nothing, nowhere close to what I have now regarding um how the intake of roots and herbs. I'm very big on traditional plant medicines, traditional plant healing, et cetera, et cetera. Water, fruits and vegetables, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I still remember, like, just because this is something really important you must understand. These emotions, those waves of emotions, because I want to be clear that sometimes it's going to happen anyways. If you're prone to mental challenges, like a mood disorder, being depression, or extreme anxiety, it might happen anyways. But fortifying your spirit, fortifying your vessel, it means the world, to whatever's going on in your reality. I still deal with mood disorders and altered states. The only difference between me now, today, and 2013, when it all started, is that I'm equipped. I have chosen to consistently fortify my system with a good diet, with exercise, with, again, that preparedment of oxygen related practices as it pertains to meditation, and just being creative in resolutions, taking the initiative to try to put things out in the ether, in the atmosphere, in the universe of what can be, what could be. But yeah, going back to diet, if you're not, strengthening your diet, fortifying your vessel, that'll be part of your what can take you out also, because if that depression, that low, is going to come um because your emotions are in flux, the mind is in flux. um Eating bags of Doritos all day and processed food, and speaking for our culture, too much dairy, too much sugar, unless it's, obviously the fruits or whatnot. It'll be part of a downfall for you. So be really careful as it pertains to your diet and these situations. um let's see, what else can I say about unemployment. Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, I'm not gonna keep it too long, but those are really, really the biggest things. And if you want to inbox me or DM me regarding, again, some of your perspectives and what you might think might be the right thing to do regarding word of mouth, or as it pertains to creating communities, again, please feel free to let me know, because and feel free to let others know that are also in this situation. But if anything, you don't want to comment, that's fine. But if anything, I just want to, it's my job, going back to what I believe, regarding shamanism, regarding being a healer, is it's my responsibility to sow seeds, to weave the web of reality, like the spider Anansi in our African culture, being Kweku. So yeah, I want to put as much as possible out there as I can. But I guess to just kind of expound more regarding um, regarding community and what that looks like. Just keep in mind, like that's where we come from. And oh, that's what I wanted to say. That's really important to really say, is that yeah, things look different now. Things possibly. I live by a fire station, by the way. Things probably are going to look really, really different moving forward. Don't don't let this get you down. Do understand, like, especially when it as it pertains to community, we've been here before. We've been here before so many times. We've been here before everybody else have been here. The fact that community is not, a popular thing in the Western Hemisphere, as a lot of shamans, a lot of scholars have pointed out, well, still will point out, it doesn't mean it can't happen. It doesn't mean it doesn't need to happen. Don't try to be as optimistic as possible about these moments, these times, and again, brainstorm with your people, with your friends, with other people in like-minded conversations and forums that you're in, and see what you can come up with. Because I don't believe, that, again, that American dream of just, these one family households, or living, exclusively by yourself, unless you're just wealthy like that. You got it like that, which is cool. No shade, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people will still be able to exist like that too. But I don't foresee, maybe, I'll just say a high percentage of people will probably not be able to exist that way. The thing that's unfortunate is that, a high percentage of people just feel like there's just nowhere to go. There's no hope. There's just no other option. That's what this whole, support group moment is all about. It's just for me to let you know there's options. There is other options, but you gotta put your options. You gotta put yourself out there and put your circumstances out there and see what it looks like. Um, and there's a book too. I think it's called the Congo Art of Babysitting, and that's something that's really important that I think that at some point we might want to look at, because that in particular goes over existence, the matrilineal existence within the African culture. Let's just, you know, let's just call a spade a spade. Like, that's part of where we are at. The matrilineal is the match. It's definitely in full effect, and I think, our Nubian queens and women, like, y'all gonna have to take control of this, take the reins on this, more than likely, because the patrilineal era, that's going away. That's going to be non-existent probably, to the majority. So the Congo art of babysitting, and I actually, if you go back to my posting with Mutwa, may his spirit rest in peace. He's made it to the ancestral realm, and we call on him and others at this moment too. But I posted some stuff that he talks about regarding the matrilineal age, but I will read this right quick, just in case you didn't check out that posting. In governance and decision making, there is a dual headship in matrilineage. For example, the Ohafia have two heads, a male and a female head. The male head performs secular duties, settling disputes, protecting the rights and interests. Sorry, my dog moved. I know what she was doing. Protecting the rights and interests of members in the land or estate and resources. On the other hand, the female head performs sacred duties. The duties are ritual in character, such as making sacrifices to the sacred pot, ududu among the Ohafia. Each of the ududu represents an ancestress. In matrilineage, a male cannot be the ritual head of the ancestress. The women have their traditional law-keeping body, the ikperikpi. It is responsible for the handling of affairs of women of the village. It operates independently of the men. Only the Ikparikpi can deal with the affairs of women, especially the offenses committed by women. Um, it is the women who deal with the female accomplice to adultery, et cetera, other penalties and stuff like that. That's that is extremely important for us to understand at this moment too, because I would say I believe that there is a calling, again, as you probably believe too, for us to connect. Sankofa, for us to connect back to our roots and our culture. What does a matrilineal ran tribe village community look like? That's a part of our culture. That's a part of Native American culture. I've read quite a bit on different Native American matrilineal tribes and villages and stuff like that. So educate yourself in this moment. Do as much reading as possible, as much outlining as possible, and just really see what that looks like. Because these moments, every thought that you have, every word that comes out of your mouth, it's creating your reality. And if you don't leave here with one thing, with this conversation in this group, you don't leave here with one thing. Leave here knowing that everything that you do from this moment moving forward is creating your reality, creating your perspective. And again, as I said before, second guessing, that's there's no time for that at this moment. So yeah, so that's a matrilineal for us. You can look at my IG postings with Mutwa. He talks about it, and also there's a book called The Congo Art of Babysitting by I can never remember his name off the top of my head, but you might want to check that out. The Congo Art of Babysitting also. Oh, what's up, Shy the Creams? Pleasure to cross paths with you also. So yeah, so and rounding everything out, again, we talked about community, we talked about meditation, your spiritual essence. If you believe and you really rely on your ancestors, then do that. Don't let this moment go by, and don't hesitate to just call on your ancestors. Again, the Necharu, the Orishas, the Loas. Call on your ancestors, do your meditations, because um, a lot of this is about confidence. One reason why I don't even think about this virus thing. It's not me, saying it doesn't exist. I have my perspectives on it. I won't lay those out there at this moment, and I'm not here to debunk Corona and all that stuff. But I spend a lot of time fortifying my system. And when you have confidence in the things that you're doing, whether it's your prayers and your meditations in the mornings or at night times, standing out in front of the sun, because we're highly melanated. So we have a connection. We have this very beautiful, divine, unique connection to the sun, to the wind, to the trees. Use that. Use that. They talk, they speak consistently. Go out there, do that. Okay. Fortify your vessel again with diet. Fortify your vessel with exercise. If you're not doing much, you got to get out. You got to get out. If you got curfews, you got to do something on the inside. Do your push-ups. I do push-ups and crunches. And again, I'm not trying to make it sound like it's easy. I just know what works for me. These things are easy for me to do, mainly because I do practice with consistency. Um, and drink a lot of water also. That's really important. So yeah, you want to. Oh, and hobbies. I did not want to forget that, because that goes hand in hand with um, being unemployed and falling into deep depression. Use And I was talking to a really divine queen the other night, someone really special in my reality, and she's a writer. She's a dope writer. And she was like, I don't know what to do. She was like, what should I write? And I'm like, write about now, write about this moment. How do you feel? What do you feel? Just even if it's just one word, like even if you got this big piece of paper out, and if you can't do nothing but write one word. I'm an artist. I get it. I know what it's like to be, blocked from artistry. I get it. So, and sometimes it's just not the right time. So I understand that also. But if you can write just one word, if you're a writer, I'm just talking about the writers, the poets in here, especially, do that, because oftentimes word number two will follow behind it organically, anyways. But express how you feel in this moment through a hobby in particular, because that will it'll get you through the moment, and it'll get you through the day. Because one of the issues I had when I was dealing with unemployment was that it was crippling. You probably know that it will definitely cripple you. But I didn't have anything to lean on going into it. I wasn't practicing anything consistently going into depression. The thing I was practicing consistently was being anxious about the situation, being anxious about the future. And because I didn't practice anything regarding hobbies, and I didn't have anything that people couldn't take away from me, again, I fell really hard. But what I can tell you is that my route to to success in developing remedies and therapies and tools and techniques was creativity. I'm an artist, so I paint. I do photography. I do all the videos. That's me painting. All the videos that I post, that's all painting for me. I do audio production. That's painting. Also, though those are those are my hobbies. You got to find what hobbies work for you. But photography was something like extremely important that came out of that moment. So what's growing in you? Don't suppress it. You don't want to isolate, when it comes to unemployment. You don't want to suppress anything. You're just going to hurt yourself, and knowing what you know now, because I'm trying to share this with you, it'll make you more of a victim of the situation than a survivor and an overcomer. You definitely want to, start now with some consistencies, um, some disciplines right now. Again, think of things that they can't take away from you. But yeah, I was just telling her like, yeah, right. What's going on in your world? Like, she has a child. Like, what do you want your child to know in this situation? Because 1, 2, 3 years from now, somebody is going to put a book out of their diary of everything they wrote in this moment, and it's going to be a bestseller, or it's going to do really well. It's going to be something that catapults her or him to a whole nother level. You don't want to let these situations slide away from you. And that's why, again, I'm trying to say, like, you know which group are you going to fall in? Are you going to fall in the group that is going to come out on this in this situation winning, regarding their thoughts and their words and their practices and the things that they're putting in the universe? Or are you going to go on the other side? And the other side, and just being honest with you, and I'm not trying to, make anybody feel any type of way, but the other side is death. The other side is illness. You don't want to be on that side, and because I know what that really looks like. You don't want to be on that side, whether it's with the body, whether it's with the mind. It's again, it's debilitating, it's crippling, and it'll definitely put you closer to where you probably don't want to be. So yeah, so hobbies, spirituality, diet, exercise, meditation, and community is extremely important. I feel like I wanted to say something else about family, but I cannot remember. But excuse me, I'm sorry. um I will say this: if you do have to go stay with family members in particular, and there's a certain balance about people in your reality that you socialize with, to exist in other people's realities, um, and how you want them to exist in your reality. You control the narrative. Make sure you are always controlling the narrative of who you are, how you want to exist, and where you want to be in the future. If people don't want to respect that, then it might not be a good idea to exist in under one roof with those people. That's just me keeping it all the way 100. Again, going back to creating your own community, and I would say, as I round this out, because we're coming up to about a minute, I would say that an example off the top of my head as far as creating community. Um, Here we go, right here. This will be the last thing I share. Um, when I was in college, my first semester, I bombed really, 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 really bad because I hated school. School just was like one of them things that I yeah, it's culturally biased, and to this point, I think even worse of it. Unless you're homeschooling, unless you're teaching your kids education that is cemented in our culture, in our mathematics, our practices, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so I remember going back to my dorm room, and I was like, okay, I cannot keep going in that direction because the major that I was on was interdisciplinary studies, which was elementary teaching because I wanted to teach kids and blah 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 blah. I'm like, I don't know why you need a bachelor's degree to teach kids, but anyways, uh, I was like, what am I going to do? Because this is not going to work for me. So I remember I sat on the edge of my bed, and I kid you not, and this was the ancestors is working with me at this moment. Like they always had a way of just imparting their wisdom onto me, and me not even knowing who they are or understanding them. But I started thinking to myself, or they started, um, pouring into my mind space certain visions, and that vision was, okay, what do I want to do for in my life? Keep in mind, I'm 18, 19 at the time, and it'll be 8 or 10 hours a day, and I know I'm gonna have to wake up in the morning and feel some type of way, even on my worst day, feel some type of way about going to this thing. And when I leave this career or whatever that I choose, I gotta feel some type of way when I leave it on my worst day. And I took out a piece of paper, and I had a pen or a pencil, and I wrote down all the things that made me feel happy on the inside, that just made me smile. And I wrote down things like culinary arts because I like cooking. And I wrote down music, I wrote down talking, I wrote down art, interior design, et cetera, et cetera. And at the college that I was at, in the curriculum, they didn't have culinary arts because I probably would have chose that first. But um, they had radio. And the reason I caught radio was because I put music and talking together. Obviously, you can tell I can talk. I'm a talker. I've been a talker forever. And from that point on, I jumped off my bed and I ran over to the radio broadcasting department. And this was in 2000. And now it's 2020. Like, I literally relied on my inner spirit, the inner God in me, my ancestors. And I didn't even know, like I said, I didn't even know it at the time, but I literally relied on them. I relied on these words. I relied on these thoughts that came out of my mind to manifest exactly what I wanted. And again, like I said, I've been in the radio industry for over 20 years now. Start there. Take out a piece of paper. Write down people in your world, in your life. Write down people that you come across on social media that you think you might want to room with or be under one roof with, or whatever. Take out a piece of paper, another piece of paper. Write down things that make you feel happy inside regarding, hobbies, and stuff like that, and put it together and go in that direction. That's what works for me. That might work for you also. But yeah, let's continue to build on community. Let's continue to build on what the Green Book is all about, what Harriet Tubman did, you know, that divine queen, such a divine queen mother. And let's try to come up with some solutions to how we can create communities in different places, in different regions, so people have places to go and they ain't got to be stuck with some heathens, with some Christians. I'm just joking. With some Catholics. No, so they ain't got to be stuck with people that they don't want to be with. Um, okay, so it ended anyways. All right, so that ended on the IG Higher Dimension 44. Share story. I shared it on IG. Higher Dimension 44. Feel free to follow me on IG. Send me your IG handle also. I'll follow you too. Um, but thank you so much for joining the conversation. I do appreciate you, and I hope that something that came through this vessel, through the ancestors, was able to edify your reality and help you out moving forward also. And don't forget to subscribe, and please share this channel with others, because maybe some other people want to know about what's going on, want to get some tips, want to get some solutions and some resolution. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, and hopefully, when I do the next lesson in the University of Anansi, you'll be there, and I'll probably do another podcast or video cast, probably on Friday night, more than likely. All right. So yeah, that will conclude this lesson about depression and unemployment, and I will check you guys out later. Be strong, be safe. Hotep Ankuja Seneb. Ashe, Ashe, Takosa. Peace. And stream, and stream.